Hi, everyone. I'm here with Brian Sanchez, who is in our studio at Fitness for 10 in Carson City. Thanks for being here, Brian.
Always great to be here with everybody, Steve.
All right, so we're going to talk about trainers and clients and the relationship between a trainer slash coach and their client. And what if you're a client and you don't like your trainer, or maybe you don't even know that you don't like your trainer? The reason we bring this up is we had a conflict actually in one of our clubs with one of our trainers and a client, which should never happen. Um, and I don't know, we maybe have pushing 100 personal trainers in all of our gyms just in Northern Nevada. That's a lot. So, what are your initial thoughts on this? What if I'm your client and I'm not happy? First, we'll go. What if I'm not happy, and then what if I am happy? What do you do?
First off, as a coach, it is our absolute responsibility to seek the understanding of what our client wants from us. And maybe it's experience on my end. I got a great piece of advice, and this is just for all us coaches out there. And then we'll talk about clients. Something to the effect of, and it was one of your business partners, Steve, that when I first came into the business with the Fitness for 10 groups, and they were kind of, bringing me in and talking to me about, hey, this is how we approach our programs. It was brought to my attention, we don't want to train our clients in the way we think they have to train. We want to train the clients in the things that they need, their wishes, their goals, their approaches. Because if in other words, if I trained everybody to be a power lifter, I'd probably snap most of my clients in half. That's not what they want. That's not what they need.
Okay,
And
so
whether
so what you're saying is don't train your client the way you train, because you don't know what their
correct,
goals are, what results they want. So you have to train them according to what their goals and objectives are, not what yours are as a coach, right?
right. And when I look at, people say, "What are you an expert in?" I believe one of my expertises is understanding or seeking the understanding of the client, so that we can individualize the program for them, not for what I like to do. I love bench press, squats, and deadlifts. That's maybe less than 1% of my clients. So we have to be keen as coaches that this is what we need to do. And the development of an individual's body, whether it's a fat loss, a volumizing, or a recomposition, there's 1,000 different ways of how to approach that. And I think it's very important to understand for all of you that are using coaches to seek out through discussion with your coaches, you know, seek out what it is that you're doing together to personalize that program for you. If you're having a conflict, let's just say your coaches aren't ones that um, have talked to you a lot about what you want to do. Well, then I think it's absolutely okay to sit down with them and say, hey, I want to lose 40 pounds. You've got me on a weightlifting program that doesn't necessarily help me lose that kind of weight. I know enough to know that I should be on a different kind of system. Can we approach this program, or an adjustment in the program to help me with my weight loss? Your coach should smile and say, "Of course we can. Let's get started now. Let's talk about what we're going to do." Now they might come out with a bunch of things for you to look at, but it's not that hard. Now, if it's a personality issue with your coaches, I think it's perfectly okay to sit down and talk to them and say, "Hey, are we missing a cue here? Are we missing something? Because I'm not getting what I need from you." If that's the case and you don't feel comfortable with that, then by all means, every one of these coaches has a boss. Go see their boss. And for all you coaches, put the ego outside. Listen to your clients. It's so absolutely important, Steve.
So I guess if I think my client should have a bigger butt, I shouldn't be training them to get a big butt if they don't want a bigger butt, right?
That is 100% accurate. Now, if they want a bigger butt, you should be training them to get them a bigger butt.
Right.
There's ways to go about that.
Of course, sure. Yeah,
So,
we're gonna blast your butt. We're gonna make it ginormous.
yeah, it's really that simple. When we sit here and talk, with obviously your years of experience and my decade in this theater, um, I think we have an understanding that it is about our clients. When we talk about, when people talk about, the specialization of trainers and what they can and cannot do for you, your trainer should be ready to program for you and you alone. Now, granted, there's going to be some common norms in those programs, but if you're a weight loss client, it should be designed specifically for that. If you're a bodybuilder, it should be designed specifically for that. If you're a power lifter, it should be designed specifically for that. If you're just somebody that really doesn't know what you want to do, then tell your trainer and let them start to develop a program for you. But every program should be individualized to that client. There should be a folder on every single client, and your trainer should not be writing the same workouts for everybody.
Oh, for sure. It's like, look, there shouldn't be two workout programs that are the same. If I have 10 clients or 15 clients, every single one of those programs should be unique in multiple different ways. So if you're a client and you look at, hey, this guy's doing the same exercises, the same things he does with me, that's a red flag because it's not personalized. And that's why you hire a personal trainer, not only to personalize it, but change it probably at least every 2 months. You're doing different things. So it's important to know that. And look, everybody, we all have our different personalities. Now, this is a rare thing for someone not to get along with their personal trainer. Usually they know right away, and you may have bought, I don't know, 2 or 3 months worth of sessions. It's okay to say, hey, you know what? Can I try a different trainer? And that trainer should encourage you to do that if you want to do that so that you can look, just like all trainers are different, like all gyms are different, they're all different. You're going to connect with people in a different way. Usually what happens, somebody starts with their trainer and they get too connected to them and they don't want to try anything new or they don't want to listen to anybody else. So what do you think about that, Brian?
I actually encourage my clients to seek out other coaches. You have to realize, although we write these programs out for the individual, we all have stylistic variances. The way I might approach a weight loss program might be a little bit different than the way Steve approaches a weight loss program. It all has the same goal. It's all going to have common norms. Some of the workouts are going to be similar in nature, but there might be a different approach. All the personalities are going to be different. You may feel more comfortable with an older coach versus a younger coach. You may feel more comfortable with a guy instead of a gal or a gal instead of a guy. These are things that we have to understand. And a lot of times in the gym facilities, when you're going in and you're meeting the coaching staff and you're going through assessments, it doesn't mean you're going to be working out with that coach. You're going to get assigned to somebody else. And I think it's important to sit down with that person that you've been assigned to and have the conversations. This is what I want. This is what I want to do. Don't make the assumption as the person going in to seek training that they're going to understand that based on a piece of paper that you filled out. Talk to them. Tell them what you want. Tell them what you like. Get to know them. And I think that's going to help in those instances. But I think it's very common for confident coaches who have been in the business to not have any problem with their clients moving around to different people. It is absolutely okay, and I encourage it. I think if you've been with me for a few months, yeah, I think it's absolutely okay if you want to go work with Josh, or if you want to go work with Steve, or if you want to go work with Ingrid. Knock yourself out. Go and do it. Embrace that opportunity.
Yeah. Um, ask questions. If you're a client, ask questions. Why are we doing this? What is this supposed to do? And get into that trainer's head. That's what I would do. Why are we doing this? What do you think is the benefit of this? And what is the term of this, whatever that we're doing, before I see whatever benefit you think that I'm going to see from this? Which part of this goes into my goals and my objectives of what I'm trying to do to my body to get stronger or whatever? So ask questions and communicate. And trainers are kind of an interesting breed. Trainers, coaches, I mean, they all think they're the best, and that's okay. That's probably a good thing. You know, I used to think that. I started off as a trainer. And I was trained by some of the best in the business. I was fortunate. And I got a lot from that, more than I did from my education and so on. Is I was trained by some of the best strength coaches ever, that are still doing what they're doing. So I was kind of fortunate to learn detailed technique that, like power cleans and push presses and, how to do things in detail, So, I thought I was the best. Was I? Probably not. I don't think now, you get older, you're not that smart. You're not really that good at anything. It's just how it works. I guess you become more humble. But yeah, I thought I was hot snot, man. When I was started off, I was in my 20s, personal trainer.
I didn't start doing this side of it until I was in my 40s. So I think that, you know, it's 100% okay for our clients to seek out the information on who we are and what we are to find out what we're all about. You're going to find out quickly when you start asking questions what the certification levels are, what their background is, what their likes and dislikes are. Don't ever forget, as a client in a gym, that you are a paying customer who expects nothing but the best. You paid for the service. You can demand a quality of service. And I think it's perfectly okay. That relationship, although most of the times, with these trainers, you develop a liking for each other. It's a complementary part of the relationship, and it's strictly a business relationship. But you've paid for that access to that person, so why not take advantage of that? And it's okay to demand of that person to provide the proper programming that you need to see success. It's that simple in my eyes.
Yeah, and I'm kind of laughing to myself because I made a lot of mistakes, a lot of the ones that you're talking about. Being a young man and being a personal trainer, I was in a lot of the country clubs in the Palm Desert, Palm Springs area. And I gave bad advice because I was doing what we talked about at the beginning. I was having them eat like I eat. You need more carbs. You need to eat every hour and a half. You're going to burn some body fat. You got to eat some carbs every hour and a half. Now I'm in my 60s. If I did that, I'd be a diabetic in weeks. And
Right.
so what I did was I didn't necessarily make my goals their goals. I listened to what their goals were. But what I did was I made what works for me try to work for them. That's where I made mistakes. Trying to make my diet work for a 70-year-old when I was 25, that's not going to work. Trying to work, trying to do some of the same weight training exercises and lifts that I was doing for someone in their 70s. I'm not saying I was completely stupid, but I do see where I made some of those mistakes. Again, looking, and I talk about this on the channel all the time. I was viewing everybody through the eyes of my body and how my body
Right.
works. And now I look
Right.
back and go, I couldn't do that. What I did when I was 25, now in my 60s, there's no way I could do that. If I ate like that, I'd literally be probably a fat diabetic in a month if I ate the way I ate when I was 24. And the same thing with the training. I remember I had a head football coach when I was playing football in college, and I was in the weight room for 3.5 hours, and he'd be in there working out, playing around, and I saw him working his biceps. I go, Coach, what are you doing? You're trying to get your biceps bigger? He goes, I go, work out with me, man. You're not doing enough on your biceps. You're not doing enough. If you want to get your arms bigger, you got to do way more. And that was I wasn't even a trainer at that point. I was a college football player because this guy was the head football coach, right? And so he worked out with me one time. All I had him do was like 10 or 12 sets on his biceps, was like half of what I do. And the next day, I thought he was going to kill me. He
couldn't move his arms.
He couldn't move his arms. I mean, don't cut me, coach. Well, I was a starter, so he probably didn't want to cut me. But wow, yeah, he was like frozen.
I think that's the point, though. I think for everybody to understand, and if you are a coach and you're getting in on this conversation, you don't have to defend yourself. We're not anti-coaches. We both do it for a living. But what we're saying is it's okay for our clients to ask of us. It's okay for our clients to have an expectation that we are going to fulfill their needs via the gym and the program that we put together for them. It's perfectly okay for that to happen. And if we can't see that, well, then maybe as a coach, we have to make some adjustments.
Yeah. And I go into different gyms and I see trainers doing things that aren't correct or not as correct as they should be. And, I don't say anything because, people have pride, and we have personal trainers in some of our gyms. They'll come up and correct me, and I just let them do it. Or I could say, do you realize I've been doing this for 50 years? Like, I've been doing this for twice as long as you've been walking on the earth, and you're trying to correct my deadlift form. But okay, I will keep my head down a little more when it's probably shouldn't be, but I'll put it there for you. It's just easier sometimes.
It's all right to expect from us. And if you can hear anything, be confident that when you go into these gyms, it truly is about your success, not whether or not your trainer's looking good.
Yeah. And the last thing I'll say is, look, all trainers are different. Now, I'm not talking about our gyms because they're all good. So we're an exception to the rule here. But some trainers are really good and some are really bad. There is some really bad coaches. There are. Just like there are coaches in every sport, and there's good ones and there's bad ones. That's just how it is. So it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to fire your coach.
It is 100% okay.
All right, Brian. So thanks for being with us as always, and we will talk to you later.
Everybody put a smile on your face. It's a good day today.